Bitcoin has officially entered price discovery. After shattering its previous all-time high, we've now seen 4 new highs in just 3 days. Those being $112,000, $113,800, $116,800. Mind you, that $3,000 jump occurred in just 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and now nearly $119,000. We've come back down to about $117,000, as you can see on the block clock behind me. We are in uncharted waters. What we're witnessing is the violent unraveling of a compressed spring. You can see right here on this chart. A breakout, not just in price, but in positioning and cycle culture, getting out of this summer doldrum that we've been in for about a month and a half now. And it's not just optics. This move is being driven by raw firepower. You can see here, in the last 24 hours alone, $689.71 million in Bitcoin shorts have been liquidated in the perpetual futures market. And $425.63 million of that was wiped out in just 10 minutes, making yesterday the single biggest one-day Bitcoin short liquidation event since July 2021. You could see on this chart here. Now, you could see on the bottom pane, that's aggregated liquidations. In green, you could see short liquidations. Now, you could see all the way back in 2021, if I point my finger over here, you can see that big green candle, and once again over here. That event in 2021 preceded a 95% rally in Bitcoin's price that culminated in the December cycle top. Now, let's be clear, Bitcoin is a far larger asset today than it was in 2021. It's now a $2.2 trillion behemoth. So I'm not calling for a straight up doubling from here. But if the 2021 playbook holds, even with diminished marginal returns, a move to $200,000 per coin by December or January is not out of the question. So what's going on under the hood? Bitcoin just broke out of a 10-week consolidation. I'll move back to this chart right here. That began in early May. An accumulation range that now looks like a springboard. And the timing, it's rather uncanny. We're lining up almost to the day with summer of 2017, when Bitcoin broke out of its own summer range that began in early May and ended in mid-July and surged relentlessly for 5 months, ending that cycle near $20,000. Back then, Bitcoin was a fringe asset, but today it's the tip of the spear for global capital reallocation. Zooming out further, Bitcoin is reasserting its relationship with global M2 money supply, a dynamic that was temporarily broken during the geopolitical conflict in the Middle East. Right now, Bitcoin is only $18,000 away from snapping back to its long-term trend relative to the global M2 money supply. That puts $135,000 per coin directly in view. And with the Fed's first rate hike in 9 months likely arriving in just a few weeks, the macro environment is falling into place quite nicely, and broader risk assets across the board are reflecting as such. To add fuel to the fire, there are whispers of Jerome Powell stepping down from his role as Fed chair. I don't think that's going to happen. Even if that doesn't happen, the mere anticipation of looser monetary policy is driving capital back into risk assets, and Bitcoin is leading the charge. But this move is bigger than just short-term catalysts. This is Bitcoin making up for lost time. After exploding from $111,000 to $116,800 in just 3 minutes earlier this week, it's abundantly clear Bitcoin wants to soar. And price discovery is the playground where that happens. We're now in the part of the cycle where everything accelerates. Momentum builds on itself, the mainstream begins to pay attention, and capital starts rotating fast. This is where conviction gets rewarded. So as we move deeper into Q3 and toward the end of the year, keep your eyes on these levels. $135,000 to realign with its 70-day lag to global M2 money supply, and $200,000 as a potential upper bound if the 2021 fractal and market structure plays out with diminishing marginal returns. And anything in between is fair game in the wild frontier of price discovery. What comes next is a test of patience, risk management, and belief. But the direction is clear. Bitcoin is back, and it's just getting started. Stack smart. We'll see you at the next all-time high. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and reshare so more people can see it. And of course, check out Horizon. Horizon lets you stack Bitcoin using your home equity without additional monthly payments, without debt, and without interest or term limits. You can check that out at joinhorizon.com or by scanning the QR code right there. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.